Hello? Is this thing on? Woo! What's up, guys? Your favorite mystic, TheSirenSayz, back at it again with another movie review. So everybody was talking about The Revenge, and honestly, at first I wasn't gonna watch it because I thought it said Maya Hawke and Camila Cabello. Now I hate Camila Cabello, okay, for obvious reasons, okay. Like I don't take kindly to racists, okay. But when I saw it was Camila Mendes, I was like, oh, okay, maybe I'll watch it. I don't really love her much because her character in Riverdale annoys me to the death of me. But I said, you know what, let me see if she's better in another movie. So I decided to watch it. Disclaimer, it's going to be spoilers and also my thoughts on what I've seen. I haven't seen any of the videos, but I've seen, you know, the titles of the YouTube videos going around. And I don't know, it made me not want to watch it. Like, and let me tell you guys why, right? There's kind of this mob mentality where if a movie is fighting against the norms of the movies that it is technically a part of from back in the day. So example, right? This is like a modern take on a 90s movie type of thing, right? Like 2020 versions of a 2009 movie, right? If it fights against those stereotypes actively, then sometimes, because not all the time, sometimes people will automatically say that it's great and it's a masterpiece and it's incredible. It's kind of like what happened with To All the Boys. Like, everybody thought it was incredible just because even though it was in the same vein of YA books, it broke 2 to 3 of the stereotypes and then all of a sudden it was a cult classic. I'll make a video about To All the Boys because I just need to rant off for 20 minutes about what I liked and didn't like about that series. But in the same vein, I thought to myself, oh, is this movie even going to be good? Or is it just good because there's going to be more inclusion of things that wouldn't have been in a regular 90s movie? Like, you know, openly gay characters that aren't in the background, or POCs that aren't side characters, or best friends of the main character. You know, like, because those things are now the forefront, that automatically makes a movie good, and I don't like that, okay? As a person of color, I like when things are written well and we're involved, okay? Not just that we're involved, which is why I'm not the type to just be excited because I see somebody that looks like me on the screen. I'm like, okay, 1 check mark, I'm there, okay? Am I being presented properly? Am I being written well? And I think that brings up a new conversation in terms of the depth of characterization versus tokenism versus good writing versus historical context versus what was original. And let's just say this has to go with the Ariel thing too. There is nothing original under the sun. And I'm going to say this as a small segue. I saw that some redheads were complaining because they thought this was their moment to shine. And I'm going to throw you a trump card. Number 1, her hair is red. Okay. So let's leave it alone. So it's like they erased your hair color. Second of all, in the original story, she was blonde. And I heard in the clip notes that Hans Christian Andersen made this story about himself because allegedly he might have been gay and he fell in love with this man, and it was a whole out of water experience, part of your what type of experience, and so he wrote this story to reflect that. So to make it worse, gay people were actually erased when Hans Christian made that original story, and blonde-haired people were actually erased because she was originally blonde-haired. So can we just stop complaining now? Can we stop? I'd love for it to stop. We can stop now? Okay, great. Let's get into the movie and get over with it. I liked the second half, which is a good thing. I thought the first half was decent. The aesthetic of the whole thing was definitely giving. I loved the aesthetic. I didn't really like Maya Hawke's outfits in the first half. I was like, ugh. But I could say it was a good representation of still being able to show who she was and who she used to be, right? So here's the story in a nutshell, okay? And this is without the big spoiler. Camilla's character, Drea, is the it girl. She's kind of fish out of water because she's not as rich as the others, but she works twice as hard to get everything that she got. And we start off at her birthday party, okay? We hear that somebody who is somewhat popular told a little fib on her. So Drea shows us as the audience, tough person that she is, by cleverly shitting on the girl in front of everybody at her party. Now, this is to show characterization that Drea is very smart and calculating. She's not just gonna pull somebody's pants down, F the prom, or just embarrass somebody by throwing pig's blood all over them, Carrie. What she's going to do is she's going to expertly make herself look better by making you look like a piece of crap. Which I did like. You know me, okay? I like smart female characters. Not just female characters that are seen as smart because they're fighting the patriarchy. No, okay? Fight the patriarchy with your brain. Let me see how you're fighting it. Let me see how you can succeed. Okay? Because as much as men can be annoying, they got to where they are using a level of intelligence. So the only way to fight it is to also use a level of intelligence. Right? Right. So I liked that about Drea. Her outfits were really cute. I liked them. We get introduced to her friends. Now, her friend Tara, the girl Jessica who played that girl in 13 Reasons Why, she's still being characterized as sort of a ditz. Whatever. She's cool, she's really good at party planning, and she's best friends with Drea. Then we get to meet her other two friends. Noah from Pretty Little Liars Original Sin. Get your cash, Miss Ma'am. And the other Asian girl who is always a side character in every show I've seen her in. She's always like a friend of the main character or a friend of a main antagonist or somebody. So she was there. She's cute. They're all cute. They're cute girls. Then we meet Max. And what I did like about this story is something that did annoy me at first when it came to Max. So, as you all know, Max got her to send him a sex tape, and then it got leaked. Now, Max is a good actor because at first I was wondering how far this show would subvert expectations. Would it come out that he didn't actually send it, and that his only crime is being a rich white male in America, which can come with some negative side effects towards other people, definitely. But I was sitting there the whole time thinking, he doesn't really look that bad. In terms of, I'm not seeing him being absolutely terrible. Okay? Now, it was a little unbelievable that he just got hacked out of nowhere. And the explanation at the end of the movie was kind of just like, huh? But it's okay. They had to prove that he did it to make the movie make sense. So that's fine. Alright? But, let me see. What did I think about Max? I liked his characterization. Let's get into Austin Abrams for a second. He was in Euphoria. He's just turning into heartthrob material. I loved his hair in this movie. I'm going to be talking a lot more about the aesthetics than the plot. But, like, his hairstyle... Because at first when I saw him, I was like, he's supposed to be the super hot popular guy? He barely got any lips. He needs a little bit more lip before he gets heartthrob status for me. But his hair was immaculate, and his hair gave him heartthrob vibes. So they did a good job making him look the part by taking the parts of him that they could update and fandangle to make him the hot guy. I believed it. I believed that it was good. So then insert the scandal. She finds out that her video's been leaked. She automatically believes it's him. And this is what I would have wanted. He said he was hacked, right? Most people believed him except Drea. She knew for an absolute fact it was him. And at this point in time, the only reason that we know that she knew is because he's a guy. Of course, he posted it. But nobody else except his sister believed him. Now, I will accept the sister believing that he did it because she's got to have some prior knowledge. But us as the audience looking into it, I would have liked a little bit more information as to how you knew that he did it. You know, like, Because, of course, it's explained at the end, right? And let me skip forward to the end for just a few seconds. In the end, he admits that they're very similar in terms of them both being very calculated. And the fact that they're so similar means that they never would have worked together. They always would have been in an internal battle to destroy each other, which is very interesting for him to say. So that kind of shows that he obviously has some of her darker characteristic traits, and maybe she saw that, which is how she just immediately knew that he would have done it, because immediately it would have been like, well, of course he did it. He's like me, he's calculated, and he can be sometimes bitchy for no reason. And in this movie, she had to grow as a person, but he didn't have to grow, so he's stuck at the same state. So technically that would have meant that he still would have been bad enough to post it. Okay, fine. But I would have liked it to not been at the end of the movie that we kind of get that caveat into why he did it or how she knew he did it. You know, I would have at least liked to see a little something more than just he being a white popular guy, because depth of character isn't just a trope, it's in what you show as well. So let's say there's a dumb popular girl, but you want to add depth. You have to add the depth. You can't just be like, yeah, well, she's dumb and popular, but she's also really nice and she feeds orphans. Don't just tell us that at the end of the movie. Show us. Like, make there be a kid and she holds him until his mother comes. Or make there be like a homeless child on the road and she gives him $100. Like, that's showing us that even though she's ditzy, she has an open heart. In the same way, I would have liked to have seen that he was a complete asshole for more than just him being popular and white. Okay? Because it's not fair to us as the viewers to just be like, well, let's just use the trope that he's popular and white, so obviously he must have done it. Like, no, like, let us in. It could have been one moment before the end of the film where he does something cruel. It might even seem a little out of character because of the way you've been characterizing him, but for the most part, we could be like, ooh, there's something there. I think he did it, right? Instead of it just being he was her boyfriend, and usually when nudes are released, it's mostly the boyfriend, and he's rich and white, and so he has to be an asshole. Like, come on now. Come on. Like, give us a little more than that, you know? Show us that you respect us as an audience by showing a little more than just telling. That's all I'll say for that aspect of it. So Maya's character comes in. And Maya Hawke, Uma Thurman's daughter. So Maya's character, Eleanor, comes in. And I'll admit, I was prepared just either not to care about her or not to like her, because, like I said, this movie is just taking a lot of tropes. And sometimes with the tropes, you just keep thinking, alright, this may or may not be good, this may or may not be bad, whatever, let's see what happens. So, she comes in and she immediately gravitates towards Drea because Drea is fighting back against some girls, one of whom is Sophie Turner-Jones. I barely recognized her. She looks so different. Her face is so much more chiseled. She looks so grown up. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. And she snapped back really quick, so good on you, girl. Also, why is she always being typecast, apart from X-Men, into being like a bitchy character? Like, does she request that? Because it's a little confusing, but whatever. So, Sophie Turner's character is showing around the sex tape, and so Drea hits her phone with a tennis ball, and that impresses Maya Hawke's character, Eleanor, into, wanting to approach her. Let's just skip forward so that we can get into everything that happened here. So they team up, they become friends, they decide to do revenge on each other's counterparts and see how that will go. And so drama and chaos ensue. And it was kind of entertaining, I've seen revenge plots before, so it was necessarily very different. I liked the idea of them switching and doing revenge on each other's counterparts. That was a nice additive. The whole time I was watching the movie, I was thinking about the Eminem song that he did with, why am I forgetting her name? The song where he's like, we could do revenge, 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 together, together, together. We could do revenge, 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 so sweet. Da 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 da. Do not copyright me, Eminem, fuck you. Okay, so they were working together. Eleanor's character why she wants revenge is that she came out to this girl that she liked, and it ended up backfiring. This girl being Carissa. So Camilla's character, Drea, sorry, I'm more remembering some of these characters for their actual names than their fake names, but you know who they are. So Drea destroys Carissa, makes it look like she drugged the school, and then outs her for having a drug den in her garden. And then she gets taken out. Along the way, Drea starts falling for the cute Indian guy who's best friends with Carissa, so there's that subplot line. I don't really have much to say about that. It's a 90s movie. There has to be some romance. There's romance for Eleanor and romance for Drea. Eleanor falls for Max's sister, and Drea falls for Carissa's best friend. It is an interesting dynamic that they're both falling for the family members and close friends of their respected new best friend's enemy. So that was an interesting dynamic, I guess, but the love interests themselves were not interesting. Max's sister was not interesting. She's pretty, but she's not interesting. The hot Indian guy was attractive, but he's not really that interesting. So it's just like kind of just there to add the romance element. But yeah, let's get into the kicker. So, after Carissa is gone, there's kind of this weird feeling that you get in the movie where it's like, okay, there was that scene where they outed him for sleeping with half the girls at the school, and they pivoted. They pivoted like Olivia Pope spun this for them. They were like, he was sleeping with all these girls because they have an open relationship. Because in case I didn't say so, Tara and Max are now together, which is, that was weird. And they didn't really dive too deep into that, and I feel like they should have, but you can't get everything you want. So they're like, oh, we're in an open relationship, and that turns him into a feminist icon, and more girls want him even more because now they have a chance, and all of that. So what happens, right? After everything, and after Carissa is gone and their first plan to get rid of Max doesn't work, Eleanor sees the good side of her friendship with the others. And this is what I was talking about with Max, right? Apart from what happened at the end, and apart from the fact that he's a cheater, which is terrible, there isn't really anything there to quantify that he's the type to leak sex tapes and nudes, right? Shows that he's an asshole, but in the way that most guys can be assholes, So, like, she sees the warmth of her friends. Tara throws her a birthday party, and she's seeing that warmth. And before the spoiler twist happened, I thought it was interesting because I wanted to see if they were going to show the dynamic of popular people not being all bad and the depth of people and the range of people. They kind of did try to show up, but they didn't have enough time. Which is why I will say I feel like this entire thing would have been better as a limited series. That way they could have dived into some of the side characters a little bit more and given more depth to it. I feel like it could have ended the exact same way. The ending was okay. But I feel like in terms of broadening it so that people could stop saying it's a cult classic, it would have actually been a cult classic if they had dived into the themes that they brought up. Because I wouldn't even have thought of that if they didn't put it in there to be noticed. You know what I mean? So she's kind of, ignoring Drea, enjoying the limelight, and then Drea finds out and, calls her out on it. And then she says what I was thinking. Now, personally, I know he did it because the movie's not going to make us go this whole time and he didn't do it. Like, that would have been a curveball that, honestly, the writers just wouldn't even have had the balls for. So, fine. But when Eleanor said that you don't even know he did it, there's no evidence, I was like, I was thinking the same thing, to be quite honest with you. I was thinking the same thing, I swear to God. So, that made her upset. Obviously it did, and she stormed off, and then Eleanor's boo thing heard and broke up with her because she's like, of course he did it, what do you mean? And me as the audience member is like, okay, Drea thinks that he did it because of things that were shown to her off screen of his character, and his sister knows that he did it because of off screen stuff. But us as the viewers only have the word of mouth of the characters. We've never seen him be an asshole to anybody apart from the cheating, right? And here's why I'm saying, and here's why I'm not even picking up the cheating much. Tara found out and she was embarrassed that people knew, but she didn't even care. She didn't even care. The most thing that bothered her about Max was that he was being sort of heartless towards having empathy for Drea. And I guess that tiny thing that they showed is supposed to show that he did it. But it's like, I don't know. I feel like if you want to make somebody a villain, make them a villain. Don't try to give them this weird middle ground if you're not really going to, and then backtracking at the end of the movie with some villainous plot. Because that's what happens, right? So there are two spoiler stuff that happens. One, Eleanor was actually talking about Drea when she spoke about the story of the girl who outed her and made her a social pariah, making her seem like a predator. It was actually Drea. And it conceptualized the scene where Drea said, people can definitely get fooled if they're only focusing on themselves too much. I'm paraphrasing. I know the actual phrase, but I don't care. So I thought, I was getting chills that entire time when Eleanor was just like, I was talking about you. And you didn't even remember. You couldn't even see that you were the problem. I was like, ooh, damn. I was proud of the writers. I was like, this is a good twist. I did not see that coming. This is a good twist. I like that. I really like that because it made the boring queer character interesting. She had an idea and she said, I'm going to get revenge on this popular girl who ruined my life. And you know what? I was going to be nice to you. But then you came to my party and messed everything up, and I realized that you didn't change at all, so I was going to mess up your life. When she said, I'm in control now, I said, yes, you is, ma'am. Yes, you is. All I want is a well-written character. That's all I want. And they did that with Eleanor. I liked what they did with Eleanor. I really liked it. She's the best character of this entire show. Hate her outfits. Hate them to death. Hate most of her outfits. I like some of them, but I hate most of her outfits. But Eleanor is that girl. Okay, so she flipped the script, took control. I am the captain now. She captained this. I loved it. I'm seeing Drea was just like, oh my god. And apart from Drea being poor, I kind of wanted to sympathize with her. And that's why I like the Eleanor thing. Because when they were showing that her friends, apart from Max, were not that bad, I kept thinking to myself, why are we really on Drea's side apart from the fact that she's poor, so she's not as privileged as them? You know? Because her friends don't really seem that terrible. So I like that we got to have Eleanor's perspective, where we show that they're not that terrible and that Drea really is a bad person who needs a reality check. I really liked that. It really made this movie a whole lot better for me, and it upped the rating from a 5 out of 10 to about a 7. So in the end, Max comes out and says that they're so alike that of course he had to destroy her and that's why he did this stuff, which doesn't really make any sense. Like, I feel like his motivations were way too deep for his character. You know, like, it's like they made him this 30-year-old mob boss type guy, but he's just 17. Like, where is all this weird pseudo-intellectual maturity and depth and evil coming from? Like, stop being so dramatic, please. Anyways, the movie was pretty good. I liked it. I don't feel like I wasted my time. It was good. I don't think it's a cult classic or a masterpiece. I actually will never watch this movie again. That's why it's giving a 7 instead of an 8. It's giving a 7 because of Eleanor. Eleanor was that girl, and the aesthetics were the aesthetics were incredible. I loved the outfits. I liked the coloring. I even liked that they really tried to make it feel like older movies by putting in some older songs in there. They really give it that older feel. It made it nice. If you want to watch it, go ahead and watch it. I think it's just a decent view, you know. Anyways, guys, this is my all over the place review on Do Revenge. It was good. I liked it. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. See you in the next review video or Sims video, because I got those coming up too. Anyways, goodbye, Simmies. Sue.